Sir, let me just introduce you. All right, good morning. We're pleased this morning to be joined by the Secretary-General here and the Executive Secretary of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, Armida Salcia Alice Jabana. And joining us behind us is Rebecca Greenspan, the Secretary-General of UNCTAD. They're here to launch the World of Debt report. The Secretary-General will make some opening remarks and then has to leave, and then our two guests will take questions. Sir, please.
Good morning and good afternoon. Half of our world is sinking into a development disaster fueled by a crushing debt crisis. That is the main message of the report we are presenting today, a world of debt. Some 3.3 billion people, almost half of humanity, live in countries that spend more on debt interest payments than on education or health. And yet, because most of these unsustainable debts are concentrated in poor countries, they are not judged to pose a systemic risk to the global financial system. This is a mirage. 3.3 billion people is more than a systemic risk. It's a systemic failure. Markets may seem not to be suffering, yet people are. And some of the poorest countries in the world are being forced into a choice between servicing their debt or serving their people. They have virtually no fiscal space for essential investments in the Sustainable Development Goals or the transition to renewable energy. Levels of public debt are staggering and surging. In 2022, global public debt reached the record $92 trillion, and developing countries shoulder a disproportionate amount. A growing share is held by private creditors who charge sky-high interest rates to many developing countries. On average, African countries pay 4 times more for borrowing than the United States and 8 times more than the wealthiest European countries. The International Monetary Fund says 36 countries are on so-called debt row, either in or at high risk of debt distress. Another 16 are paying unsustainable interest rates to private creditors. A total of 52 countries, almost 40% of the developing world, are in serious debt trouble. It is one result of the inequality built into our outdated global financial system, which reflects the colonial power dynamics of the era when it was created. The system has not fulfilled its mandate as a safety net to help all countries manage today's cascade of unforeseen shocks, the pandemic, the devastating impact of the climate crisis, and the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Debt is an important financial tool that can drive development and enable governments to protect and invest in their people. But when countries are forced to borrow for their economic survival, debt becomes a trap that simply generates more debt. Today's report is our most detailed picture yet of this unfolding debt crisis with a health of comparisons and context. It also sets out our roadmap to global financial stability, a roadmap already put forward in our policy briefs on reforms of the global financial architecture and the SDG stimulus. Deep reforms to the global financial system will not happen overnight, but there are many steps we can take right now. Our proposals include an effective debt workout mechanism that supports payment suspensions, longer lending terms, and lower rates, including for vulnerable middle-income countries. And governments can agree right now to scale up development and climate finance by increasing the capital base and changing the business model of multilateral development banks. They can enable much stronger coordination between the banks to transform their approach to risk without losing their AAA credit rating, so that they can massively leverage private finance at affordable costs to developing countries. The Bridgetown Agenda, led by Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados, and the recent summit hosted by President Macron of France, generated other important proposals. The upcoming G20 summit is an opportunity to take these ideas forward. Action will not be easy, but it is essential and urgent. Today's report shows that time is up for 3.3 billion people. Thank you. And I leave you in more competent hands. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.